Orcas are some of the most emotionally intelligent animals, yet so often people only know them as the creatures that SeaWorld exploits. Since most of us care deeply about the lives of animals, we should strive to eliminate animal cruelty and the unnecessary capture of wild animals. I'm going to go over the suffering of the captive orcas and why we should push for their freedom. Let's talk about why these whales are not thriving at SeaWorld. First off, it's unnatural for whales this size to be kept in captivity. Killer whales travel thousands of miles in their lifetime when they're in their natural habitat. Melissa Hogenboom of BBC writes, one team tagged a group of orcas and discovered that they frequently travel all the way from the Antarctic Peninsula to Brazil and back again. At one point, they traveled non-stop for 42 days and covered over 5,000 miles. SeaWorld does not and cannot provide the necessary facilities for these animals to thrive while in captivity. It seems SeaWorld doesn't care about this, however. They have not made effective attempts to give these animals the space they need and are asking for it, even though they are willing to take it away from them when they have captured them. Killer whales only kill people and injure them when in captivity. Whalefacts.org says the only documented orca attacks that have resulted in fatalities have involved captive orcas at marine parks. These attacks are almost certainly not indicative of the behavior of orcas in the wild. Buildup of stress and frustration of the lack of space causes these whales to attack their trainers from time to time. This loss of life is completely avoidable. These animals fight each other because of the limited space. An article on orcas on thedodo.com says, eventually the two whales disappeared beneath the surface, according to Miller, and continued thrashing about. When they surfaced, she said Sakari's shin was dripping with blood. These types of problems cannot be hidden from the public eye, as proven by the account from the witness's testimony. The huge problem of little space for these animals is of minor concern to SeaWorld because of the money they make off these whales. SeaWorld profits millions from having these animals on site, and the sperm from the whale Tilikum is worth millions of dollars, and SeaWorld sells it globally. Jennifer Welsh, BusinessInsider.com writer, says his semen is worth a lot of money. It's brilliant because they can inseminate way more female whales because they can get his sperm and freeze it. Then he's basically operating as a sperm banker. This whale has killed 3 people, yet they continue to breed him and use his sperm to breed others. It is well known that it's not a good idea to breed an animal that has aggressive tendencies. Brian Howard of Nat Geo writes, Tilikum pulled SeaWorld trainer Dan Branshaw into the pool and killed her. This tragic event made world news, but few people realized that this orca had already been involved in the death of 2 other trainers. If SeaWorld did not prioritize money above all else, this whale would have been sent off away from people long ago. The orca shows at SeaWorld attract thousands to the park yearly. The orcas are probably the biggest animal attraction at SeaWorld parks and are even featured on their symbols. In a survey of my classmates, 50% said they had been to SeaWorld at least once. In the same survey, everyone who had been to SeaWorld had also seen the orca shows. We know SeaWorld keeps these whales for the money, but is it worth the emotional torture these animals are forced to deal with on the daily? Being in captivity is detrimental for these animals because they are ripped away from their family pods. These highly emotional animals typically live with their families for their entire lives in a group or a pod when in the wild. The whales that are born in captivity are kept separate from their families for most of the time and still have to deal with some sort of separation anxiety. Lars Crawford writes in his article on thegraymattersjournal.com, the species of topic today is the one who has demonstrated many human-like qualities, including intelligence, language, and an exquisite sense of emotional capability, the Orcanus orca. Clearly, these animals exhibit extreme emotional awareness and intelligence, making their separation from their family all the more torturous. When asked their opinion on SeaWorld capturing orcas in the wild, a peer said, SeaWorld needs to leave them alone and let them live in open water to allow them to have a healthy life. Many of the whales in captivity are known to experience depressed-like behavior because of the separation from their pod. This behavior leads to a plethora of health problems costing SeaWorld millions in vet bills. Geek.com's Daniel Starkey writes, first, whales will chew on concrete and steal features of their tanks. This is a neurotic behavioral stereotype done out of boredom and perhaps to relieve anxiety. When asked in the survey, what do you know about the problems with keeping killer whales in lifelong captivity, a student replied saying, I feel that there's a lot of health problems involved, like depression. These issues can only be fixed by releasing the whales into huge enclosures or bodies of water and by not capturing any more of them. If all the currently captive whales are moved to areas large enough for them to live their lives happily, SeaWorld would be doing something positive for these animals for a change. SeaWorld should pay for such enclosures to be built because of all the hardships these animals have already endured because of this company. Most importantly, SeaWorld must stop capturing these animals globally. China and Russia are involved in capturing these animals, but SeaWorld has a hand in these examples and instigates further worldwide captures. The idea of not capturing these animals is best understood with this visualization. Imagine going to SeaWorld and seeing that they do not have an orca exhibit or any orca shows. The lives of so many of these animals would be helped and changed. It would be a comfort for all animal lovers visiting the park to know that the orcas are free living in the northern waters of the world. On the flip side, if we continue to allow the orcas to be captured and bred by SeaWorld and its affiliates, these animals will continue to be used for financial gain and to suffer. Too many orcas have died in captivity. We have discussed the clear evidence of why orcas are suffering in captivity and why SeaWorld keeps capturing them globally. People must boycott all SeaWorld parks and write to governing officials to change laws on these animals being kept out of the wild. This is the only way to save these animals' lives and many more that can be captured. Everyone should care about the lives of some of the most beautiful and intelligent animals that exist. Together, we can all help save these whales.